Hi there guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. Hi, I'm Gary. It's GenVFX Tutorials again, and today we're going to talk about the polybuild tool. So it's kind of a one-on-one, but it's more about a tool rather than a modifier. So it is the same kind of thing going on. I'm going to be discussing it, making sure we all know exactly what's happening. But the polybuild tool is probably the best way to do retopology. Now, I have said in the past that I'm not the best modeler when it comes to characters in the world, so please forgive what you're about to see, because on the screen, hidden underneath, you can just see a hand poking out, but hidden underneath the splash screen is something I've been building, just getting something together so we can do some retopology. And please forgive me, it's not great. She has a name. Her name is BT. It was because when I was working on her, here you go, there she is, there's BT. When I was doing the initial build, and as I say, I'm not brilliant at characters, I saved it as Beastie, and then I forgot to put the S in. For some reason, my fingers decided the S didn't want to go in there, so it said BT, and then I changed the spelling and we have a capital B on the front. So yes, this is BT, and I'm guessing BT is a hippo thing with elephant feet. As I say, not my bag. I like this sort of thing. I'm not very good at it. That's only like an hour's work. It's really not great. It's even got the belly of a turtle. I don't know what's happening. It's a thing. But the point is, it allows, and also it's got elephant feet, but it's got human-esque hands. There's something seriously wrong with me, isn't there? Yeah. Okay. As long as we're on the same page. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to retopologize this. I do not apologize for this, but I'm going to retopologize this. That is just, I'm keeping that in. It's a terrible gag, but I'm keeping it in. Okay, I will probably put a thing saying, oh dear. So here is this little beastie, Beastie the Beastie, and she is, well, let me just put on the wireframe. Well, wrong button. If I put on wireframe, you can see she's not exactly the lightest creature in the world. And I'm not fat shaming it. I'm talking about the weight of the polygon count. Now, obviously, this is not going to be acceptable for rigging. Oh my lord, blimey, that's quite scary. Thank you, Retopo. That's going to be not conducive to animating, but we need to make something which is. So we're going to go through the processes and the motions of doing some topology on this poor thing that I've made. I do feel sorry for her. Okay, so let's come out of, I'm going to come out of this, go into object mode, and I'm going to turn off the geometry wireframe for a second. In fact, I don't know if you've noticed that the viewport overlays are fantastic. I love these because you've got so much stuff that you can see. You can't see the grid there, but I'll just, if I turn on the floor, there we go. And let's say I've got statistics, I've got object vertices and stuff in the corner there. And then relationship lines, which are very good for seeing when objects are all animating. It's very good for alembics. You can see where they are in relation to the source. Big line going out from the origin. Turn on origins and so on. And then the wireframe, and you can have degrees of wireframe visibility. A little part of me isn't entirely sure what that is for. I'm still not entirely sure what that's for. It does produce some interesting looks, but pretty much, in my opinion, wireframe density should pretty much always be 1. However, the opacity, having the ability to bring that down, is very, very useful. And then when in face orientation, so all the faces are facing in the correct direction, well, that's the normal facing outwards. If it's not the normal facing outwards, they are red. Rather than the blue, and then obviously things like motion tracking and whatnot. But you know, you can turn all of this stuff on, absolutely everything on like this. And then when you are done, you can say, right, well, I don't want to see this, so I'll just turn it all off so I can just see what I'm working with. But it's very, very useful. The viewport overlays, love them. Actually, one of my favorite things that they actually put into the most recent 2.8 onwards of Blender. I think it was 2.8, maybe 2.79. Anyway, I'm drifting. So let's just turn off the wireframe. And turn off the face orientation. For now. Now, what we have here, as I say, she is a bit of a large character, and I think I saw some sort of odd little edges there sticking out for some reason. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it too much. She's got no modifiers. She's all baked down. She's lovely, and she is there. So we're going to talk about the polybuild tool, as I said. So we're going to need to put something in there, and we're going to need to start off with a plane. Just a simple plane will do the job. So let's go to object mode. We're already in it. That's fine. Let's go add, we'll go mesh, and we're going to go plane, and you're going to see it on the floor. First of all, it's far too big. So let's scale this down. So let's go into edit mode to scale this down. Press S and bring it down here. I'm going to bring it along here. I'm going to bring it forward. Whoops. It's kind of forwards. And I'm going to lift it up. You can't see it anymore. And let's bring it out. So it's just on the outside of her body. And I'm going to go RX90 so it faces towards us. I'm going to bring it this way a little bit. And let's pop it up here. And let's bring it to there. Now, there is a trick, obviously, to polygon building and retopologizing, as it were. And that is, you need to be able to see your retopology object all the time. You don't want to see the hidden face of the object that you're trying to snap it to. And you also, of course, have to snap the object that you're retopologizing to that object. So the best way to do this, literally the best way to do this, is to change your incremental snap over here to face. And what that does, we can have that project onto self. No, we have back culling on. And in fact, no, I think we do have project onto self actually. Let's leave that anyway as it is. And then if I do this, it's moving the entire object. Let's get one of these edges and move it like this. And you can see, you can watch straight away, see it's following the surface of the object that we are pinning it to. Can you see? It's there, it's doing that. But the other problem we have now, very quickly before we go any further, is that that is now on the inside of the object, but we need to be able to see it on the outside of the object. So here we go. So our plane is now underneath the skin, but obviously if we haven't got it selected, we can't see it, but we need to see it on top of the skin. So now what we do is have to change a few little things to make sure we can see it. So we're in the Object Properties tab over here, go to Viewport Display, and we turn off In Front. Now that's fine, but of course the objects are exactly the same color. Now this color down here is white, and that's white. As you can see here, white, white, it's a little bit pinky. I'm sure it'll fine. But what we need to do is we need to go across whilst we're in basically our workbench mode. We go across over here, and we change our color to object. So now you can see the pink of this pops in. So I can now change this to whatever color I want. I'm going to change it to green. Yeah, I'm going to change it to green. So I can now see this in front. When it's not even selected, I can see it's in front of my model, but it's still moving around in relation to the surface. Now what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to add a mirror modifier, and I'm going to put clipping on that, because we have got a mirrored surface to work with, which is fine. Let's go back to edit mode. I'll take this point, I'm going to bring this across to here and bring one across to here, and now they're merged and clipping, which is fine. So let's move this one over to here and move this one over to here, and now we're starting to see something that looks kind of correct on that surface, which is okay. What I'm going to do as well is just going to add a subdivision surface on top of that, but I'm going to basically turn it off by unflagging its visibility in edit mode. I don't want to see it in edit mode. So now pretty much this is where we are down to using very much our polybuild tool. First thing we do is you look here, we're actually already in edit mode, and the polybuild tool is this one. Now it does say shortcut as Shift Spacebar Shift 9, but if you press your spacebar, it brings, for me, that animates the timeline. So Shift Spacebar brings up the middle menu, and then down here we've got Shift 9, but we can just click on it. And because it's here, we might as well just click on it here. Now, importantly, I just want to mention a few things. There are times when you use polybuild where you don't want the snapping on. Now, instead of having to come up here and faff and knock that, if you're working down here, if you press Shift and Tab together, it will turn it off. Can you see I'm pressing Shift and Tab? It turns it on and off. And there's a very good reason for that. It's mostly because of cutting edge loops. If you've got your snap on, it will it'll cut the edge loop, and it'll automatically try and put it on one of the lines of the object, because it's snapping to the lines on the object because of the snapping tool and how it works. You turn it off, and you can use that by pressing Control R whilst being in the polybuild tool. So if I press Control R, you can see that's turned up, but I'm still in the polybuild tool. So that's a really useful thing to keep in mind. So in fact, I'm going to put a cut in there, and you can see it doesn't know where it's going. So I'm going to press Enter, and I'm going to open that, and I'm going to set the factor to 0. See? So if I just do this now, and I'm in this polybuild tool, and I say I take an edge. In fact, before I do that, just do this again. I'm in the polybuild tool, I press Shift Tab and then press Control R, and then I can put one in there and drop it perfectly well. And there's no issue at all. And then this point can be pulled and edited across the surface of the object. So there you go, just like that. So let's get back to our polybuild tool. In fact, I'll get rid of that repeated edge there. And here we go. Using the polybuild tool, what we can do is we can click on a point and move it around. We can click on an edge and automatically extrude. And we can also then, if I just extrude out another one, like this, we can put our cursor near an edge or a point. If we put it near a point in a corner and press Control, you'll see it creates a little kind of like, here's two triangles. We can then click and then release the control and drag this and put this where we want it. And obviously I've just realized we're not got the snap on, so those points aren't going to snap to the surface, but if you move them just gently, it will snap those to the surface. So we can see how that's actually working. So if I was to extrude out from there, if I press Control when I'm on an edge, it extrudes out a triangle from that point. Can you see? So if I let go, there you go, move that around, and then I can do the same thing. I can do that there, pop that there. Now at the moment, I take this, if I do this and pop this out here and then let go, you will notice that this point and this point are very close together, but they're not merging because we haven't got any auto merge set. So if I just take this back a bit, up here in the options, very importantly, we have obviously our mirroring if we're doing stuff, but we're already mirroring because we've already got the mirror in, so don't worry about that. We have this, which is called auto merge, which is great, but then you need to also go back here, and if you do the auto merge, which you just turn on there, you then need to set up a threshold. Now we need a threshold which is higher than 0.001 of a meter. I'll show you why. Because if I just, let's just extrude out this edge like this, move this point here, move this point here, and then if I do this, and then I take this point over to here, if I let go, that has actually snapped to that. But my threshold means that 0.001 of a meter means that we have enough range because of our 1 meter scale size is basically a whole 2 of those in every direction. 0.001 on here is probably enough for the snap distance. There you go. Yes, it is. But you have to think about it in terms of the scale of your model. If your model is absolutely massive, that 0.0001 meter that's down there is not going to be enough. You'll need to have to make that value a lot bigger. So where it's 0.001, if your model is 100 times bigger than that, make it actually 1 whole meter. Do you see what I mean? So you actually can push the point towards it and it will just snap and merge together, which is great. So let's do a little bit of this. Oh, actually, I want to get rid of that now. You see, because that I don't actually like that element now. So whereas Control allows you to grow stuff, Shift, you'll see, if I can Shift, I can delete a vertice, or I can delete a whole face. So I can go, keep my finger on Shift and left mouse click and delete those points. So the polybuild tool is really easy to use, but the only thing to remember is basically, you know, when it comes to retopology, you've just got to be a little bit more careful with it. Don't just rush into it. Don't just rush and try and build straight away. Think more about your arcs and your curve shapes and how you're going to build this to make it more flexible and more animatable. So if I was going to do this, for example, in fact, let's just do this part here. And I'll do this reasonably fast so you can see what I'm doing. But at the same time, you'll be able to follow along, hopefully without it being too complicated. The point of this is I might, you know, I'll do a bunch of this, but I'm not going to do all of it, not all of it now, because it's more about showing you the purpose of what I'm doing rather than actually trying to say, look, I'm going to do the whole of Bestie. Oh, BT, not Beastie. Oh. Anyway, so I've just pulled out a chain of these. Now I might just, let's just take these ones here and say, well, I think it'll probably be better if I was to bring these towards some kind of major lower part of their neck, sort of to think. So I've got something to work from off the chest, I've got something to work towards the arm, and I've got something to work on the neck. I can go up from the neck from here, of course. So let's say I start to do that. I can then hold Control and left click this and drag from that corner. And if I click and then let go with the Control key, it'll go to the surface. So click and then let go, and then it pops to the surface. You can just keep doing this as much as you want. And of course, whoops, I didn't want to do that. And then let's do this, and let's do this. And you can see it's kind of, that's actually, is that going to the surface? It's difficult to tell. No, I didn't take my finger off Control, did I? That's my own mistake. There you go. If you have to take your finger off Control, otherwise it doesn't actually pin it to the surface. It's kind of overriding the clip, overriding the snap. So don't forget to let go. And then obviously, so what we can do now is we can say, right, well, I want to extrude a bunch of these. I want to take a few of these and just extrude them all out. Now you can't do that with the polybuild tool, but what you can do is if you press Shift Tab, first of all, to make sure you are, to make sure you're not snapping. In fact, I think, no, I tell a lie, I can keep that on. So I'm going to go and select up here, I'm just going to select the box select tool. I'm going to go to these edges, I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to shift, select that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, just for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go extrude, I'm going to extrude those down. And as you can see, those are kind of still snapping to the surface. Just be absolutely certain that they are. Click on the polybuild tool and just, you'll watch them pop into place like that. There we go. So I can now see, I'm pretty sure there's nothing like enough vertices there. So just while I'm in this, I'm just going to put, while I'm out of this snap, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to press, while I'm out of the tool, I'm going to do that and turn off the snap, pop that there. And let's go back to the polybuild tool and just move them about a bit. Now there are other tools you can use in conjunction with this, by the way, which are actually quite useful. So, as I said, we've used the poly split tool. There's another one, which is if you've got a series of gaps like this, you can use just the fill tool. So if I turn off the snap, even though it doesn't really matter, I'm going to pick that edge. Let's just make sure it's just the edge. Now, if I press F, it will fill it. It will fill it along the line of missing elements. Fill it with a face. So this one here, I pressed it once, I press it again, it'll fill the face to there. That's really, really quite useful. So, and then again, if we pick all of these edges, now this won't work necessarily, but if I click Alt and click on that, yes it did, brilliant. We get the edge ring. So let's look through this view here and let's extrude, let's put on Shift and Tab to make the snap come on. I'm going to extrude these down here like this. I'm going to put them, it's trying to force it to a shape. Let's put them there. There you go, it's trying to snap it all together. So we are creating the base of our arm out here. So I'm going to go back to the polybuild tool just for ease. And let's bring this back to the surface here. Come on. It is snapping to it. I think it's snapping to the wrong parts. That's what it's doing. Here we go. And then we bring this up to here, and this to here, and this to here. There we go. So it's snapping to what we can actually see. That to there, that to there, that to there. There we go. next to here. And we can always sort these out in a minute. There we go. There we are. And then we can go here, and of course we can click on here and just press Control and Tab so it doesn't go to the place, and click there. And then we can just add a few more of those in. Now obviously that's not quite perfect in relation to where we want them to be, and that's when what we need is to add one more modifier. Now you know this modifier, I've used this one before. What it will do is it'll take this object that we're building, which you can now see has got a level of subdivision, which is also kind of like working along with the snap, but it's still not perfect. It's not actually snapping perfectly to the body, even though with the polybuild it should get pretty close to where we're doing it. But what we need to do is make it just a little bit more sort of like on the surface. So I'm going to select and add a shrink wrap modifier. There it is. And I'm going to pick BT, and straight away you can see how that pops and fits exactly over the mesh. So you can do quite a bit without having to pull around vertices far too much by actually adding a shrink wrap on top of the whole thing. What you can do is add the shrink wrap and then the subdivision, but that's not the right idea. If you put the subdivision above the shrink wrap, it means that it'll take all those ones you've already made and basically force them onto the shape. So the polybuild tool, as you can see, is actually really, really good. I mean, we can turn off how that's looking in here if you want for the time being, just so you can kind of like go back in here. And if we go back to our polybuild tool again, and we'll say, right, let's just Control and left mouse button. Let's just turn the snap back on. Control and then let go. Control and then let go. Control and then let go. We're back to there. And you can also start to see where you feel as though you need more polygons. Now there's one other tool I'm just going to mention in relation to using the polybuild tool, and it is because it's something which is automatically turned off. It's the whole system of little tools which are actually really, really useful. And I'm making this look a bit nasty for a very good reason. Yes, I'm not. It's not that I'm rubbish at this. It's just that I'm just trying to show you how to use it. So I'm going to add another edge loop in here. Just press Control, Shift and Tab. Sorry. I'm going to press Control. I can just press Control R. Let's do it that way. And I'm going to add a loop in here, and I'm going to push it over here, so it's too close to these ones here. And I'll put another one in. Let's put another one in over here, and I'll just pop it there. Now you can see that it's not very well spaced. Another thing about doing these is that when you're doing any piece of geometry on a surface for a character or something like that, it's nice to have things nicely spaced out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in edit mode. I'm going to just change it though to the select mode just for my ease. And I'm going to select this vertex, and I'm going to go right down here, and I'm going to actually let's move this one first. I think just going to move that up the body a bit, and this one up the body as well. And this is the body. In fact, let's do what I was going to do to these first. I'd like these more evenly spaced. So I've gone into the preferences over here. I've gone into my add-ons, and I've turned on something called the mesh loop tools. I have mentioned them before. They're brilliant. They allow you to do a lot of wonderful things. One of those wonderful things is if you right click in the window now, and up here I've got loop tools, and I can go space. And what that does, you can't really tell because they were a bit too clean. Let me just make them a bit more messy. Let's go back, and let's just push these around a bit so they're all over the place. Let's push them up there, and let's just do this. And I'm going to go back to here. Yep, and let's do that. There we go. So I'm going to select these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to the loop tools, and I'm going to go space. There you go. And what that does is that evenly spaces them over the surface along the line that you have put in place. So I'm going to move a little bit more. So if I do the same thing here, and I'm going to press Control I'm going to pick that vertex. In fact, I'll pick that one and then press Control here. The line is kind of there, but if we go space, it evenly distributes these points along that line. Really useful. So if we do it repeatedly along here, and then go space, along here, and we do a space, and here, and this one, and we do space. The line has been kept the same, but the spacing, the actual physical spacing itself, has been kind of sorted out. So let's just do this one as well, this top one, and then it'll really look nice and tidy. There you go. So it's a much tidier shape. I mean, if you want to, you can still bunch things together more, which is fine. And you can see how you think, well, actually, I could really probably do with another set of these in between. Well, you know, you will actually get those pretty much when you turn back on your shrink wrap. So keep that in mind, and that subdivision at the same time. So you can see it's kind of putting those in because of those two elements, the subdivision and then the shrink wrap. But for speed, we do it this way. When we actually have all of these things in play, you can see it's doing a really good job of building a much cleaner mesh. But there's other things that you can do with the polybuild as well. So we've done a space, but what we can also do, and this I do love, is sometimes, even though they're evenly spaced, they just look a bit janky because they're a little bit off. So we go to our vertices and we select those, and we just go loop tools, relax. And we're going to increase the amount of iterations. I like about 10. And again, with this one here, loop tools, relax. And it just seems to smooth things out a little bit more. It's ideal as well, predominantly it's ideal for doing things like car meshes. There's some very, very, there are great tools in here for helping building car meshes. These are particularly fine. Now, obviously, if you want to come around here and say do the face, we need a polygon up there. So we come out of the snap for ease, and we come out of this tool, and we just select ourselves a single face, press Shift D and bring it up, and then let's put it back into snap, and let's move it around a bit. I should pop it on the surface. Is it popped on the surface? It's popped a bit of it on the surface. There you go. And we can come back into edit mode and grab our point and move a point over here, and a point over here, and a point over here, and a point over here. So we're now working on top of the face, and it's still the same mesh, which is great. And I think it might be worthwhile if I turned off the hidden faces there, wouldn't it be, on my object? Let's just do that. If I can do that here, that might be quite useful. Display, and turn off that shadow a bit, and then we want to have it as, I thought, no, it's up here, I think. Back face culling. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Also, what you can do if you really want to is in here, I know a lot of people do it, is turn on the shadows, the cavities. I find it a little bit disturbing because you're working on stuff up here. It makes it a bit difficult sometimes to see what you're doing because the amount of detail. It's up to you at the end of the day. Oh look, it's a little tanky top. But no, I'm going to turn off the cavity. So I'm back in edit mode. Let's go back to the poly bridge tool, and I'm going to pull this down to here. And you can see straight away we're getting sort of like this sort of beautiful build again of the face. And we can come around here, and we can come around here, and we come around here, and come around here. And again, it's just a quick, I keep saying this, but it is true, it's a really quick way of building things, once you've got the settings right in the first place, once you've got it sort of like set so you are building, you're building on the surface geometry, snapping to it, and you've turned off all the things that are just going to get in your way, you can actually quite quickly, and I'm going to bring this one up here because I think you always need a couple of extra up here, you can quite quickly generate something which is really quite cool. I will end up doing the rest of this actually, and then I'll try my best to remember to post it up there. Put it somewhere useful. But yeah, polybuild tool, pretty damn tool. What is wrong with me? Pretty damn cool. Somebody take me away. Yeah, there you go. There's a polybuild tool. If there's anything else that you feel should have been said during the course of that, or something else that you'd like to know about, please do not hesitate to let me know. Give me a call. Well, not give me a call, but give me a comment. Let me know if you'd like me to go more into this topology kind of thing. As I say, it's something I've done in the past. Don't really feel I'm very good at it. There are much better people out there who do much better stuff on this. Flip normals are particularly good at this kind of thing. I am going to go now. I wish you all the very best in your modelling. Please carry on doing everything you possibly can in Blender. In fact, very quickly, let me just let me come out of this. Let's come back into object mode, and then we can see Super Beatty. Oh, she looks funny. I'm just going to go back into here, and I'm going to turn off in front, and I am going to I think now that I have to put on, let me just put on in front. It's the only way I'm going to do this, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, she does. She looks like some sort of weird super hippo. It doesn't matter. It's I don't know. I quite like that actually. What you can also do, by the way, if you're thinking, oh, I can't see it, but it's in front. If you go up here to your modifier stack, and if you add on a solidify, what you can do then is you can increase the thickness just a little amount. That's far too much. And then once you've done that, you can then add another sub D, so you kind of smooth it again. And then let's go to the object and let's shade that smooth. And she really does look like some sort of superhero. Oh, it's really tickled me, that is. In fact, unfortunately, because the way I've done this, it looks like looks like quite a sad superhero. I'm Super Beatty, but I'm not very good at it. I'm very bad at being a superhero. I tend to drop things and don't save people very often. Sometimes I fall on them. That doesn't save them. That may hurt them. They may be sleeping. Very, very sleepy. I saw Free Guy last night, by the way. I recommend everybody watches it. Absolutely fabulous. Again, not a sponsor. So anyway, I'm going to go now and leave Super Sad BT here on the screen so you can see here. I'm very sad. Yes, I am. Oh, please subscribe. Please don't forget to subscribe. Otherwise, I will come and get you in the night. I think I need a break. Okay, guys, take care. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. All of that stuff really, really helps me. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel good on the inside as well as on the outside. And I'll see you soon, guys. Take care.